Hello, and welcome to the 23rd Annual ARPA International Film Festival Q&A portion. Today, I am joined by director Eelum Dixit, director of the short film BABU, which will be streaming via Seed and Spark during our festival. So if we could just start off, please introduce yourself, where you're from, as well as a little bit about your film.
Hi, my name's Eelum Dixit, and I'm from Kathmandu. I'm the co-writer with Tanmay Chaudhary and the director of the film BABU. BABU is a film about a 10-year-old boy whose life gets turned upside down and how he deals with that. And he deals with it in a way that is very different from what a normal child would, how a normal child would deal with it. And I feel like that's what that character inspired the film, and that's why that's why it's interesting to me and hopefully to the audience.
Gotcha. Awesome. And you actually just touched on the first question, which was, well, a little bit, what was your inspiration for BABU?
The inspiration for BABU was actually a bigger world-sized event than that. It was the 2015 earthquake that happened in Nepal. And, I'm not one to usually make a film about a tragedy, but this one was more of an ode to the strength of the Nepali people who were able to come through such a natural disaster. And, there's hardly any support system here. It's very difficult. There's already so many people, migration, to India, to the Gulf, to other places in order to, earn a living for your family. So it was inspired by the fact that you knew that once something like the earthquake happened, that people were going to be suffering and that they were going to have to take certain steps, which is what the film tries to portray.
Alrighty, awesome. What was your biggest challenge while making this film?
This film was definitely the budget and the timeline, because those go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and we had a child actor who was the protagonist pretty much. I mean, some people debate me on that, but I feel like that's the case. I mean, he was in almost every scene. And, he was a non-actor. So the fact that we were running and, trying to get this thing made quickly. And I've worked with actors, I mean, child actors before, and I enjoy it a lot. But, they're not always going to get it right on the first time, So that's what was the biggest challenge. But in a way that kind of made it, a film is what happens behind the scenes as well. So I feel like that, that sort of like endless running and like stress and tension created some of what's on screen. So.
Wow, and you said the protagonist was not an actor.
Yeah, I mean, actually, apart from four of the actors, one of whom I work with a lot, the father, the grandfathers from TV and dance, from a theater group. Yeah, apart from three of them, the father, mother, and the grandfather, they're all non-actors.
Oh, that's amazing. You never would have, I never would have guessed. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Must have had good direction then. What did you learn? What did you learn while making BABU?
So, I mean, every project is a learning process, right? With BABU, I mean, it wasn't my first film or even my second or third, but it made me relearn the fact that just go out and do it. Like go out and do it. Otherwise, it's not going to get made. You feel ready, you do it. And with this one, also what I learned, I guess, is that a strong collaboration with a creative partner that is also excited about it and passionate about it, which was Tanmay Chaudhary, who's the co-writer and DP of this film. He was in Calcutta. I was in Kathmandu. We started writing this when we were apart, even though it wasn't Corona season, right? And when we felt ready, he flew over, and within 2 or 3 days, we were like starting to write together, and it just got there, and we felt right, and we went for it. So to answer your question, I know I deviated.
No, you're good.
I relearned that if you feel right, you just have to go out and make that film. And if you have a strong collaborator with you, just like feed off of that energy and go do it. That's what I learned.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and you said you just have to go out and do it. I feel like that's true for a lot of things, you know, and I feel like definitely as a filmmaker, I'm also, you know, a lot of things that hold us back, or we just got to go do it, you know, like we want to make every little thing perfect, but you're never going to do that no matter what you do. So in your eyes, you know, you just got to go out and
Right.
do it. And no, I totally get that.
Yeah.
What do you think BABU has to say about the world we live in today?
BABU about the world we live in today. Well, for me, the inspiration of BABU was the fact that wow, these lives are so fragile, right?
Mhm.
The lives of so many people are affected by one incident. Of course, it's a big natural disaster, but
Mhm.
it's one incident in someone's life can turn it completely upside down. And how do the children react? How do they, who they're not even on their own feet, you know? Okay,
Mhm.
an adult can make sense of it in his or her mind, can find a way to figure it out, can try to struggle against all of these, all these things that are happening in the world, which this is a representation of. But what about the children? Like, no matter how
Yeah.
strong they are, how inspiring they are, the children are affected the most, and in the end they don't have the most say, no matter how much they believe and how much they deserve to have
Mhm.
the say. So
And
yeah.
that makes it, like you're saying, it makes it very relevant to today. I mean, you know, we're all talking about a lot about COVID-19, but you know, look at the children. They're not having in-person school. I'm in college. Sure, it's tough, online school, but imagine being a 10-year-old, you know, in the grade school, elementary school, and trying to do school right now. Like, yeah, you're right. You got to think about what are the children going through. So
Yeah.
that's extremely relevant. What universal themes do you think are explored in your film?
um I always go back to the writing when I'm thinking about this.
Mhm.
uh Loss, separation,
Mhm.
childhood, fatherhood. Although it's more than fatherhood, it turns out grandfatherhood, right? I don't know if there's a theme like
Mhm.
that, but it's family. It's
Yeah.
about family staying together. And there is, yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's just the striving towards, survival, and
Mhm.
how, what does that mean to you? Survival is subjective in some ways,
Mhm.
like, for one, the way that Babu tries to stick it out versus how his father tries to stick it out versus his grandfather's perspective, like those three parallel perspectives almost, which
Mhm.
Babu and grandfather kind of come together in the end. But
Mhm.
you know yeah, theme wise, loss,
Yeah.
separation.
Family for sure. No, I saw that.
Yeah.
Um, where can people learn more about your fantastic film?
Oh, thanks, man. They can, honestly, they can just message me on Facebook or Instagram.
Mhm.
It's my name. Just look me up, write to me. It's like, it's not a film that's like, it's not a mainstream film or whatever that means. So if you like it or inspired about it by it or want to ask some questions, just pop a message over.
Was there a particular event or time that you recognized that filmmaking was more than just a hobby? It was, you know, your life and living.
Um, yeah, so it's interesting because I started out as an actor and acted in TV and film before I decided, okay, let's try this out. And in fact, I think I remember feeling like somewhere along these lines, I still don't separate theater and film too much,
Mhm.
even now. Like, to me, it means similar things. I know everyone talks about how, you know, the style, how you direct actors, how actors act, and all that. Of
Mhm.
course, that's all different. But in the end, the art of it and what you're trying to do through it is similar. So I remember being on stage, even in school, playing the Scottish King, you know, and feeling like, whoa, I want to be around here. So it started with performance, honestly. And when I looked at that question, I was like, there's, in directing, it kind of, I already I'd already made the transition into, okay, I'm gonna make a living off of this, or I'm gonna sustain myself doing this. Even at the early age of I don't know, 17, 18, when I felt the power of you know, of the craft.
Mm.
So I think it wasn't a choice of like, okay, now I'm going to do this
Uh,
so I can make a living and blah blah blah. But it was like, okay, this is great. I know it's a hobby now, and I haven't figured it out, but I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life.
oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Um, are there any upcoming films that you can tell us about that you're presently working on?
Well, we've had to pivot now, haven't we? A little bit.
Oh, yes.
Especially in Nepal. I mean, I don't know how it is there right now. I mean, I've stayed in touch with some friends who are, you know, working on stuff here and there.
Uh,
But so I've been writing continuously, of course, and I've been writing one film that's actually surprisingly in the sports genre, but it does have a heart. You know, it's like
mm,
um, the story is much more than just that, and it's based in Nepal, in Mustang and Manang. So that's what I'm excited about when we can start going again. Theaters here aren't open yet.
yeah.
Um, but in the meantime, I'm writing a web series, and that's we're gonna start shooting in the next month or so.
Oh, wow.
And I'm also producing, and this is right side brain, a news show. So those are the two things I'm doing right now while we're waiting for all of this stuff to blow over. So
Go on. Well, it doesn't sound like you're waiting. It sounds like you're getting. That's awesome.
getting this stuff, you know, got to keep
uh,
moving. Got to
yeah.
keep moving.
No, that's great. All righty. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is Eelum Dixit talking about his short film, and we hope to see you guys all back for more Q&As. But thank you so much for joining us today. We
Thanks
appreciate
so
it.
much.
All right. Have a good one.